Welcome to the Parenting Tips Podcast. I'm Jeff Reiland, the host of this podcast series. In this podcast episode, we are going to wade into the challenges of raising a child while also having a bipolar disorder. This is one of the more difficult situations for parents and for children to find themselves in, partly due to the nature of the disorder. As with many mental illnesses, there is also quite a bit of shame and guilt associated with bipolar disorder. Some of this is due to the unique symptoms that people who struggle with this disorder experience, and some of this is also due to our culture's attitude about mental illness in general and their lack of understanding of bipolar disorder in particular. I hope you find support, comfort, acceptance, and also some useful parenting tools and strategies for you and for your child or children. If you are just tuning into this episode on parenting with bipolar disorder, I highly recommend you include episode 59, Parenting with Mental Illness or Addictions, in your listening and learning experience. Even though there are big differences between the illnesses described in this series, there is so much overlap in terms of what parents can say or do to help your child or children to be the best parent possible. In addition, episode 59 contains some of the best resources for parents and for children that are linked in the show notes. In this episode, we won't go into great detail about this disorder. There are a great many resources online that describe the symptoms of bipolar type 1 and type 2 disorder. In general, this disorder is characterized by fairly big mood swings. Some might describe these swings as extreme, from mania, or when a person's mood is very high and they're very excitable, with a great deal of energy, to extreme lows that may look a lot like depression. These swings can last for multiple days, sometimes longer. When a parent is in a depressive state, they may feel sad or irritable, lack energy, and have a lot of self-doubt, feel guilty, and not have the motivation to do much of anything. They may have difficulty sleeping or not be in a decent sleep routine. They may have many negative thoughts about life and feel fairly empty. However, when the parent is in a manic state, they may have a range from feeling happy or exuberant, talking rapidly, feeling full of energy, have big plans for the present and the future. They might become distracted. They might engage in illogical thinking. They may not like feeling tired or feel like sleeping. They make poor decisions that are out of character with their beliefs and values. Sometimes these decisions can be risky or harmful to themselves or to their relationships. From a child's point of view, a parent who struggles with bipolar disorder can be confusing sometimes. Children thrive on consistency, predictability, routine, and lots of nurturing. When a parent is struggling with rapid mood swings and symptoms that can accompany a bipolar disorder, it can be hard to parent, and it can be hard to be a child in this situation. Let's be clear about something. It is not your fault if you have bipolar disorder. No one asks for this disorder or any other disease or disorder. There is no one to blame. However, if you are a parent, it is your responsibility to try to do something about it. According to the World Health Organization, bipolar disorder is the sixth leading cause of disability in the world. 1 out of every 16 children in the U.S. have a parent who struggles with bipolar disorder. You are not alone. And while there is a good deal of societal stigma that still operates for those who struggle with mental illness or addiction, you can also have mental illness or an addiction and still be a really good parent. If you carry shame or guilt about having a mental illness like bipolar disorder, one important first step you can take is to get help for yourself. Getting help for yourself gives you a chance to manage your bipolar symptoms so you can devote more time and effort to your children in ways that you want to be present for them. You can have bipolar disorder and also be a great parent. The key is to manage those symptoms and also keep learning new parenting skills. When a bipolar disorder is untreated, children can witness rapid mood shifts. They can carry some of the burdens of the impulsive decisions that parents make while in a state of mania. They may wind up taking care of siblings or even their parent when they're struggling. Children can develop anxiety about the uncertainty and unpredictability of the family's home life and what state mom or dad will be in. Parents with untreated bipolar disorder can engage in erratic and inconsistent parenting practices. This can further confuse and anger children. These are all compelling reasons to get help. Maybe one of the hardest things, and also one of the most important things to do, is to talk to your child or children about your bipolar disorder. While it may seem easier to avoid talking about it, that sense of shame you feel is not going to go away, especially if episodes of the bipolar disorder keep happening and those are confusing to your child or children. Please remember the words of Maya Angelou. Do the best you can until you know better. Then, when you know better, do better. One good reason to talk to your child about bipolar disorder is to assure them that your disorder is not their fault. Another reason is that you can name your illness and describe your symptoms. When you do this, your child can better understand what is happening and will not be as confused. Please consider starting a conversation with your child or children. All children of any age need some information. Very young children do better with less detailed information and more guidance on what they can do when you are feeling high or low. Most children want to know if their parents' disorder can be fixed. The short answer is yes. Bipolar disorder is treatable, and it involves ongoing treatment, sometimes with medication, sometimes with therapy, sometimes with both, for parents to lead a healthy and stable life and be fully present for their children. Please consider talking with your children about your disorder and then listening to them. Listen to how they feel. Ask how they have felt when you were in one of your manic states and when you were in one of your depressive states. Many children, especially young children, struggle with talking about negative feelings because they don't want to upset their parent, and also because they think that talking about those feelings may bring them back. Give your child permission to express their feelings, being open to hearing what they have to say. They may need help labeling some of their emotions. You can describe the feeling that you see that they're having. For example, if they look sad, you can say, "Joey, it looks like you're feeling sad right now," when we talk about this. Another strategy is to make an action plan. It may help you and your child to anticipate a bipolar cycle. What can your child do to keep themselves safe and busy when you're in a depressive state or a down state? What can your child do to keep themselves safe and busy when you're in a manic or very active state? Help them make a list of toys, games, crafts, or other activities. It may help your child to make a list of signs that can tell them that you are doing well. What are 5 clues that you see every day that tell you that you're doing okay? Write them down for your child. It may help to make a list of signs that you're not doing well. What are 5 clues that tell you that you are heading into a depressive state? What are 5 clues that tell you that you are heading into a manic state? Share those with your children. Who are the other adults in your child's life that you want them to be able to reach out to? Make a list of names and telephone numbers so your child can talk with them. Make a list of questions that your child has about your bipolar disorder. You may not know the answer. That's okay. Your goal is to open the door for conversations. Write down the question and then start looking for the answer. One excellent source is the Canadian Centre for Addiction and Mental Health free PDF brochure that identifies many of the common questions children have about bipolar disorder and some very thoughtful answers you can consider, depending on the age of the child. This resource is linked in the show notes of this episode. The resources linked in the show notes of episode 59, Parenting with Mental Illness or Addiction, also provide an extensive list of strategies for helping your child cope with a parent living with mental illness, in addition to children's resources. These resources, created by the Temple University Collaborative on Mental Health and Parenting, are just outstanding. Please consider checking these out. To summarize, you did not ask for bipolar disorder. It is not your fault that you have it. However, if you are a parent, you can gain control of this illness and be a great parent to your children. Be open with them about your illness. Help them to identify their feelings. Help them to make a plan for things they can do to feel safe and occupied when you're in a manic or depressive cycle. Help them to make a list of adults that can help them when they need to talk with someone. Continue to work on building positive moments and memories with your child or your children. Thank you for tuning in and considering this parenting topic. I hope this information added to your growing toolbox of parenting your child or children. Please consider exploring other topics in this series. Remember, no one parenting tool can do everything. We need many tools to become the best parents for our children. Your children's future depends on you and the time and effort you invest in them today.